All right. So we're speaking to Adam Cianciarulo, a professional Supercross racer racing for Kawasaki Monster. And Adam is going to talk to us about testing our ketone ester.
So you reached out to us. How did you hear about the ketone ester?
I'm honestly, my dad is kind of my, he's kind of my manager almost a little bit in ways. And I've had some problems in the past just with endurance and things with my body and stuff like that. And he kind of looks after me from that standpoint. So he found you guys actually, and he brought it to me. So I'm not exactly sure, but I'm certainly glad he found it.
Great. Yeah. So you've now been one of the few people that have actually tried it 3 times. The first day we sent you just, 30 grams, which is about half of what we give someone your weight, just to kind of, get your toe in the water. And then we got a text message, I think it was halfway through your practice, saying, let's get another one down here right away.
Yeah.
So that we can try, the full dose. Because I don't like giving people the full amount because, everyone's body's different. So we want to ease you into it. Then we sent you another one. Why don't you talk about what you felt, the first time you took it? You can even start with, how did it taste?
Yeah, I think it didn't taste, too bad to me. I'm not incredibly picky when it comes to that stuff. So, I had no problem getting it down. And after that, I think it was the first day. It was on a Monday. It was just a normal practice day for me. And I took it about, I want to say I took it about an hour before I started, about 30 minutes to an hour before I started riding. And I think the first thing I noticed is it's not necessarily a rush of energy or anything like that. It's kind of unique in that sense from anything I've tried in the past. It's to me, the best way I can describe it is it helped kind of slow everything down to me. I was doing sprints, and I just, when you're doing sprints and you're kind of trying to push a little bit over your limit in sprints, a couple laps at a time. And you tend to want to mentally kind of overload because things are coming at you pretty fast. And I just felt super in control and, just in control and stable through those sprints. And it made me feel like I could do those, those fast lap times for a longer period of time, just because the mental fatigue that goes into it, as well as the physical, but the mental fatigue, that comes with trying to go that fast. I think it helped kind of slow everything down for me and made it easier.
Yeah. The slowing things down, putting everything in slow motion has been, something that we've heard multiple times. Some people call it being in the zone, that feeling that sometimes you might only get once or twice a year where everything is just,
Exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. And then Steve, do you want to ask any other questions about the first time you took it versus the second?
Well, did you notice any difference in your recovery time or how you felt in between sessions?
That first time I took it on Monday, I didn't feel very well. Like, I feel a lot better physically now this week, like a few weeks later, as I'm getting my conditioning kind of back from racing. But I don't think I even would have been able to do my program that I had laid out for me on Monday if it wasn't for the ketone. So energy wise, I still didn't feel great, but it did. It's hard to say how I would feel if I took it and I felt amazing already.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. If you double up and you were having a bad day and we brought you up to baseline, what if you had a good day? So then, we sent you another batch, and I think it was for a Thursday run. Can you tell us how that one went?
I think the second time, the first time I took it, I remember I did, I think I only did one glucose shot before. I think it was 30 grams of sugar, I think, something like that.
It was 15 grams of glucose in a 30-gram pack, so it has other stuff in it.
Exactly.
I think you said that you were yawning. So some people, they get too much of a glucose spike, and then they're crashing. So now we're trying to, move the timeline, before the crash.
That's what happened to me the second time I took it. I took some more glucose because you guys said to up the dosage of that. So I took more glucose, and I waited a little bit before I rode, and I started to come down as I started riding. And in the beginning of the day, I felt not very good on the bike. But you know, as I kept riding and kind of got out of that crash zone, I thought I came back to at least baseline.
Right. And then I think your mother said that you might have broken a course record that day.
Yeah. I actually ended up at the end of the day. I ended up doing my fastest lap time on the track that we were, you know, that we train at on a daily basis. So
And it's happened before with elite athletes that have actually broken a world record and had no idea that they were doing it during the performance, because they were not allowed to see their numbers. And then at the end, you know, they reveal what kind of numbers they were producing, and they just were 2-5% improved. So,
right.
you know, not everyone feels necessarily an improvement. It's a subtle, it can be a subtle, you know, memory, that split second cognitive difference that makes you take a turn a little bit faster, which helps you pick up a half of a second, millisecond. So, I mean, maybe it's a coincidence, but we were excited when we heard that when you finally took the drink with the right protocol, you broke the track record. That was like, whoa.
Exactly. Yeah. I was pretty surprised because I didn't have a lot of information on it going in. I kind of trust my dad.
That's actually better. We don't want the placebo effect. You getting too excited about, you know, something.
Yeah. I don't like to, I tend to overthink a lot of things too. So sometimes I'd rather just come in a little bit blind and kind of feel it out for myself. So.
Great. And then how was your recovery the next day? Did you notice any level of, I would have been normally sore after that, or, you know?
I think it's hard to say because during the week, my days are pretty light just because we're kind of all over the place on the weekend. So we try to keep the volume down a little bit. But I definitely say the third time I took it was actually at my race in, I want to say, it was in Toronto 2 weekends ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
2 weekends ago, and that was my first podium in the season.
Yeah, I mean, don't think we weren't watching you on that live feed. We're like, go.
Yeah. Well, that was an interesting race because it was tough because we're doing, in the past it's been 15 laps we've been doing as our main event, and now we do 15 minutes plus 1 lap. Typically a Supercross track is anywhere from 45 seconds to about 55. So you're doing more laps, and it's a little bit harder this year. And I think in that race, I was just able. A lot of people made mistakes. The track was very difficult, and a lot of people ended up, you know, on the ground. And I was able to kind of just. I didn't technically ride that well for myself, but just from a mental clarity and focus standpoint, I was, even when I did get when I got a little muscle fatigue, I was still able to, you know, my brain wasn't drifting, or, you know, I wasn't unfocused, and was able to kind of stay the course and get second. So I think in that instance, it helped me, you know, because you tend to, when you get tired and you start suffering, you tend to, your mind starts to go after a while.
The first thing that goes is your mind. Yep.
Exactly. It's like lack of oxygen, or so. I mean, that's what it feels like. You know, so I was pretty stoked with how I was able to kind of push it out.
We cut it in half. We actually did half for your semifinals and then half for the finals. So, you know, we still haven't done a full serving. That's why we broke it down to the 30-30, because we thought it would be really good to, if it helped you any, to help you get better placement for the finals, you know, in the semis.
Right.
So that's why we decided on the 30-30 protocol.
To me, the perfect example in your race was at the end, everybody's pushing to the limit, and your teammate Savachi, is that how he pronounces his name?
It's Savachi.
Savachi? He crashed right in front of you, okay? Almost you're in the same turn. He goes down, you stay up. To me, that was like an example of if it's slowed down just that little bit, you're on the brakes at the exact right time. One guy loses his front end, and you keep going.
Exactly. Yeah, I think anytime, everything in Supercross especially, you have so many. It's like a show. You know, you got so many different factors. You got fireworks going off, like people yelling. It's just a hectic experience, and it's something in practice that we can't emulate at all. You know, you can't simulate that at all. So when you if it's 2%, it feels a little bit slower to you with the ketones. I mean, it's a ginormous advantage. So yeah, I noticed that there particularly a lot.
We
Great.
really like to do some more testing. What we're also finding is every individual has a different insulin sensitivity. So that crash that Frank was talking about is dialing in the amount of glucose.
The sugar crash, not the bike
Yeah.
crash.
Well, it's a sugar crash. Your insulin goes way up and then your sugar goes way down and suddenly you're feeling tired. So to dial in that amount and the ketones would be really exciting.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's been a few, even every time I've noticed improvements in what we're doing, but I still think if we hone it in a little bit more and we kind of nail that perfect formula for me, I think,
Yep.
I mean, I think it's going to be huge for me. I mean, we're looking for, I mean, in what we do, I mean, I'm looking, or any sport, you know, you're looking for 0.5%, 1%, you know, it's not like we're looking for 20. So, I mean, that would be huge.
Yeah.
You know, 'cause especially beginning of the race in Supercross, everybody's freaking out. Like, you're not even thinking, really. You're just riding and kind of holding on. And if I was just kind of more conscious in that time and things were coming at me a little bit slower, it'd be a game changer.
How did it feel for, energy-wise, as far as like excitement, energy, and sharpness at the beginning of the race, combined with the adrenaline? Was that normal or the same, or some people have noticed that they're excited, yet it's somehow manageable and hard to explain?
I felt that feeling the most when I only took the 30 grams of the first time I tried. That's when I noticed the most, like almost like I was kind of wired a little bit, but in a calming sense, to where I wasn't jittery or anything like that, or I didn't feel like my heart rate was spiked or anything like that. That's when I think that's when I felt the best.
Now, that one, you did not take carbs. You take much less carbs. Did you notice any VO2 max, inability to get enough air in? Because some people, when they take just the ketones, their glucose gets suppressed by 20, 30 points, and they find that their legs or arms might be fresh, but then they can't get enough air in. Did you notice anything with breathing, like getting a breath?
Yeah, I do. I think breathing is difficult, especially, riding. It's one of the things that we have our mechanics right on the pit board, just because, we forget to do it a lot of the time. But the first day I noticed, when I went out there, I was like, oh man, this stuff is unbelievable.
The glucose helps you with the breathing. That's why the dual fuels are recommended.
What about arm pump? Did you notice any difference, how long it took for your arms to wear out?
Not me. I've never really had it, fortunately enough, knock on wood. But I think the biggest thing I noticed with just getting tired in general and muscle fatigue, it just keeps I haven't noticed it stopping that or really delaying it too much. I've just noticed that I'm able to, when my mind goes, oh, I'm done, I'm over it, it doesn't do that when I'm on the ketones. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. And I'm able to kind of max out, what I have left, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah. So when's your next race?
My next race is this weekend. We go to Indianapolis, and then next weekend is Detroit.
All right.
And then St. Louis after that.
Well, great. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for trying it out. We'll get you some more once we get the next batch. And we're actually hoping to sell our first 20 bottles officially to the public, because it's all been going to pro athletes, and then all the consumers are saying, hey, where's this stuff? And we finally decided to set aside something for anybody to be able to buy, and we're going to sell it on eBay and have all proceeds go to charity. And
awesome.
Have the first 20 bottles, it goes for what it goes for, and that be that. That stuff that you drank, I don't know if your father told you, but one gentleman paid $30,000 for one serving, actually about the same amount that you took the first time, the 30.
That's incredible. Makes me feel pretty lucky.
I don't expect it to go for that much this time around, but
hey, you never know.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you very much.
Yep. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Adam. You're a beast.
Thank you.